Okay, hello guys. I am back. So I completed my orange one and I did mention that I will be doing my black one. Thank you for coming back if you did. My previous videos, I talk about my orange one and mistakes that I did and things that I fixed. So if you're in a learning adventure like me, I would recommend you go back and see my previous video. That way you can see what I was talking about. But if not, that's fine. Let's move on. So I start with the sketch, and then from here, I will get this marker right here, and I'm going to make some markings. And one thing about these markings is that I leave them. I like them. I don't perfect them. I don't want them to look like a straight line. They're very expressive, very loose, and that is exactly the style that I am going for. And so you're just going to see me do an outline. So as I do my outlines, I'm going to tell you a little bit more about myself. Like I said, my name is Noemi Lucero. I will go a lot by Naomi, or to be frankly, anything you want to say. I've been called just about everything when it comes to my name. So I am used to it and it doesn't bother me. I am a twin. Her name is Sarah. Shout out to my sister. Hi, twin. And we we have my mom had a lot of sisters, so girls, so we are a large family, siblings of 7. And what else can I tell you about me? Okay, where do I well, I was mentioning in my previous video that I am a foster parent. I've been doing it for over 10 years, and I started painting successfully, calling myself for the first time an artist 2 years ago. This September that passed marked my first year. This one will mark my second year. And I started accepting my work as an artist for the first time and call myself an artist. Never thought I was that. And my style of painting is more portraits. That's how I started with portraits. One thing I want to clarify, I have always been a very artistic, creative, crafty kind of person. But when I was 15, I was drawing a lot with like a point 0.5 lead pencil and with ball pens, and I would do some nice work. Why didn't I not pursue that? I definitely have an answer for that. So when I would make paintings, or I mean, they were more like sketches, they were more like something like this. They did not have color at all. And people started liking them and they're like, oh, can I have it? Oh, that looks super cool. And I would just gift them. I would just, sure, yeah, you can have it. I wish now that I'm older that I would have kept some of those, because that really would mark a lot of my artistic. But hey, if anybody out there that knows me from when I was 15 years old, way back in 2000-ish, that reveals my age. All right. Um, if you guys have some of my work, feel free to show it, post it, let me know, or reach out to me. I would love to see it. And that way I know it's out there. So I would say it's quite a few amount of things. Okay, back to answer why didn't I pursue that back then is because I got tired. I would come home with a list of things people wanted me to draw. I would draw a lot of like the lowrider style, and there were like the hands with like the rosary and somebody's name, or the hands of God and somebody's name in the background. Very, very homey vibes, because that's the phase I was in around that time. So it makes sense that that's the kind of art I was doing. But I would come home with like a list, and all of a sudden it felt like a duty, right? Like I did not come home to enjoy art. It was more like, oh dang, I have a list. People want, you know, I have a list of 5. I have a list of this and that, and eventually it became tiresome and discouraging. So I stopped pursuing that, and I didn't do it for a long time. Then fast forward like a year or so after, I went to Job Corps here in Tucson, and there was an art class that we can go for free and utilize anything in the art class, supplies, anything at no cost. I mean, I grew up kind of poor, so to know that I had unlimited supplies to art supplies was like, is this for reals? Is this a gimmick? No, it was totally available for the students that lived there, and I took advantage of that. So I would go to the art class, and it was my first time that I had freedom to art supplies. And soon after I joined Job Corps, my twin followed, and she joined me in the art class, and I told her all about it. So we went up to the class, to the art class after school, and we totally had full access to everything, and we would go all out. And we started doing a lot of abstract painting. I mean, I knew about art, okay? I knew some of it, whatever I had learned in middle school. And I didn't finish my high school, and so I finished my vocation, my high school in Job Corps, but it's not like your regular high school setup. So I didn't have art per se as a class. So I lacked a lot of knowledge in art. So at that time, me and my twin started doing splatter art. And it was kind of, like I said, we had no concept. We were just doing what felt right for us. And people once again came with a list and wanted us to do art, and we were very excited because people wanted the things we were creating, even though to us was like, it's not anything, it doesn't look like anything, it's not a representation of nothing, it was just expressive art. And yet again, who wanted our artwork? The staff. Oh, hey guys, we were showing off our work. They're like, oh wow, can you guys make more of that? We're like, yeah, of course we can. And then they're like, oh, do you mind making one for my wife? I'm like, oh yeah, sure. And then later on, can you make one for my daughter? It's her birthday's coming out. Yeah, sure. But we didn't think about, my light went off. It's all right. I'm gonna keep going. Um, we didn't think about what, there's a cost. This is not for free. Well, for us it was for free because we were just enjoying the expressing ourselves and whatnot. But before I go on, I will do my pink background. Let me show you guys. So this is what my little collection looks like. They all have a pink background. So I will do the same for this one so it can remain on the cohesive look. Okay, back to my story. So before I go on with my story and rambling, I'm gonna go ahead and be outlining this, and I'm gonna give it a few layers. In my previous video, I talked about adding a few more layers and what it entails. So if you want to know about it, go see my previous video. Okay, back to my story. So yes, we yet again, the burnout was real. We had a list of things we had to draw, and we were more than happy to produce that work, and we did. And I'm sure, yet again, shout out to people that remember us from Job Corps. If you are one of the staff that teachers and wanted our art, you have it, and you know that me and my twin made it, reach out, show us a picture. I would love to. I would love to reconnect and be reminded of what my work looked like. Luckily, one survived. My mom, we ended up gifting one to my mom, and my mom kept it. Survived all these years, so she has it, and it's hanging in my living room right now. It's very abstract. That's not so much of the splatter art that we were doing, but I couldn't understand why people wanted our work. I really didn't, because it was, to us, was just like, why would people want this? But we didn't care. We gladly did it. We didn't charge anything. And once again, the story repeated. I come home, we go back to our dorm with the list. So now I feel like I'm in the art room, enslaved to produce all this commission work for free, because that's what they are, uh, never gaining anything out of it. And eventually I stopped. I didn't draw, but I've always been inclined to it. So, and then fast forward, I would draw here and there when I got married, or I would sketch little bits, pieces here and there. But it be like my artistic side and drawing and painting became very dormant for many, many, many years. And I found different outlets to what is the word I want to say, to be creative. You guys give me a minute. Okay, let me see if I can remember my train of thought. So, like, how to get my dog out. I apologize, guys. Okay, so yeah, the burnout was real, and oh yeah, I was talking about fast forward. I did not paint for a few years after that. So, I think around 2016, my twin came over and visit me. I think I was pregnant. I was just married, and she's like, "Hey, let's paint." So I kind of, she would encourage me to paint because that's like how we would bond, I guess. So yeah, I painted here and there throughout the years, but not quite like I am right now. That started 2 years ago, almost 2 years ago. I started painting portraits, and one day I was like, you know what? After watching one of my favorite artists paint, Dimitra Milan, and just how she would talk about being expressive, and I was like, I love that. Like, I feel like it just rang so much truth with me when she said, just be loose, don't hold back. And I was like, I love that approach. So I started painting right after that. It set me free. I feel like it unlocked me. And it's so true. But I did do a few large, very large canvases pieces, and they're stuck. They're not stuck. Some have been in the galleries and exhibitions. I have one right now in a gallery, which is it's nice to know that it makes it in galleries. Is really nice. I have made commission work out of my experiences, and I've met a lot of artist friends. So it's nice to do all of this. But this right here, ACEOs, wow, it's still brand new to me, and I love it, and I want you to love it too, because it allows you to explore without feeling that huge commitment. Okay, now this one is going to be black. It's very challenging that I chose black because you can easily get lost in the details. All right, so I'm just going to go in. Even though it's black, I don't want to go super dark. Let's just go in with the gray just to fill in the underneath colors. I'm glad I swapped to gray. So right now I'm going to paint the whole sweatshirt and hoodie this color, and then I'm going to come back with the darker and fill in what I feel that it needs to be darker. And then after that, I will finalize with outlining it with the black Sharpie, black marker, to make those bold marks that I like. And then do the hair and the one eye. And we will be calling this done. I don't know if I'm going to add more colors to my collection. Clearly, the sky's the limit. I just, as an artist, you have to know when to stop and when to accept that you move on to your next pieces. And another fun fact is, I mentioned in my previous video that I didn't start with these dogs. I started with big glasses. I think I did actually. Well, I explored with a few different mediums, a few different subject matters, but these, I like the hoodie one, so I gravitated to these because I saw, like, you know what, having different hoodie colors, I think it's super cool. Let's go with that. Okay, right here I'm gonna come back with my black one. I'm not gonna push too hard because I don't want it to leave I don't want it to turn out too black, but I do because it's a black sweater, but not too dark. So we gotta be careful, not over rendering the black part. Like I was saying in my previous video, this kind of paper has some tooth in it, so you definitely are going to see some marks of your paint. So try not to push hard, that way you don't have this strong marks that you don't want. All right, let's continue. Just gonna, and you just have to decide. This is my base reference. I get to see the darker coming here, here. So I'm trying to replicate the location of where those are Yeah, so I'm going to be using this. It's my reference to know where I want my placement of the darker parts. And yet again, even though they all look similar, they're all going to have their own little personality, their own little attitude, their own vibes going on, if you know what I mean. They each vibe differently. And the color is part of that vibe, I believe. I don't know. What do you guys think? Could I be right? Wrong? Oh man, I pressed too hard right here, but happy accidents, right? We just move on. It's Bob Ross. Big fan of Bob Ross. I didn't I didn't know who, I mean, I kind of knew who Bob Ross early on, but I want to say, to be honest, I didn't really saw his videos until my twin says, you need to really watch him. I was like, they kind of look a little boring, a little sleepy. She's up, pay attention, look at him. And I did, and I'm glad I did because then I became Bob Ross, a lover for sure. Okay, let's see. And as you keep rendering the piece, you'll see what feels right. You got to know when to stop because the temptation is to over render a piece and it kind of loses that vibe that you're trying to put into it. So for me, it's like just let's be careful not over rendering a piece. I mean, if that's what you want, if you want more of a realistic, then yeah, it requires a lot of rendering, a lot. For me, I'm not really going for that. So it's more of the idea than the actual perfection of the work. I mean, right now looks like it needs a lot of work, and it does. I am rushing this piece a little bit. I shouldn't. Let me see. Well, because I know, part of painting and drawing it requires a lot of layers. But I do want to see before I keep going what it's going to look like once I add the marker. That will help me know how much to render after that. Okay, I'm getting a better idea. This will allow me to know how much to press with the color pencil. If you want to use any other medium, go for it. Do it. Whenever you're, oops, I didn't realize. Okay, sorry guys. Whenever you're doing your own piece, you will decide if you want to use other mediums. I would say do it. I do work with acrylic. I've experimented with the very different mediums. But for this specific ACEO, I noticed that I fell in love with color pencil. Well, I did also do some acrylic in some of my other work, and I did like it. But I felt, I don't know, this feels right to me. So sometimes you just have to trust your gizzard. Sometimes things are gonna feel like lean into it, lean into whatever feels right. Trust yourself. More importantly, trust yourself. Trust the process, and eventually you're gonna land somewhere. Right now I'm landing hard on these ACEOs, so that's why I'm saying trust yourself, make mistakes, test yourself, push your limits, experiment. If you haven't found your voice, these little ACEOs will definitely help you get there because the risk is little, the commitment, you know, I think like any piece, how much commitment and love you put into it will determine a lot of things, but it's like a more of a safe route to explore. Okay, how is this looking? Okay, so I'm gonna keep rendering a little bit with the grays. But before I do that, I do want to finish this hair. So with the eye, I'm gonna go like in a little golden color brown, like a little hazelish. And I'm gonna make zoom in. I'm gonna go with a little darker to make the outer part of the eye. There we go. To look more realistic. And I'm gonna use this darker one Here we go. It's coming along very well. So this is me. This is who I am. It's what I like to do. And I have taught some people how to paint, people that have never painted before. That's been really fun, and their minds are locked, and I usually try to help them that they don't have to lock their minds up. It's a fun journey to discover and to explore, and it's nice to see your students learn and develop something, and you can even see the little voice developing as they're rendering a piece, and as they're a good teacher's going to pay attention and listen to what they're saying, and will know how to guide them to the next steps. I'm putting a little gray, a little heavier, because I want to cover a lot of those ridges. I don't like them, so let me come back and do a little harder on all of it, but I'm going to go in a different direction. It's looking better already. I kind of wanted to create that soft look. They do have a different kind of paper. This is the paper I'm using. Got it at Amazon, and this is a Valium surface. They have a different one, so maybe if I think the other one is more smoother texture. I might give them a try. I think I wanted to try this one because the whole little stronger teeth and that the paper has. I purposely went for this, but now that I'm here, I think I'm ready to try the other paper as well. Okay, let's go in with my black. Where is it at? Here it is. Almost done. It's looking great. Very nice. And this all will definitely be for sale. All of them, all my works. I don't plan on keeping them. I wanted to live in somebody's home. If you're interested, let me know. I don't have an official website. The plan is that I do, but right now I just wanted to get this website going and just talk with you guys, hang out, and just bring you to the process of me painting. Thank you for joining, for anybody that does come and watch. I appreciate it. And there it is, the black one. Black hoodie. All right, thank you guys. If you haven't, subscribe, like, share, comments, anything you want to know, let me know.